So today I'm going to be working on the new Hugelkultur Terrace development. I have 2 fruit trees still that need to go in, and so it's going to freeze in just a couple of days. So I need to fell this cottonwood right there, but all the roots will sucker right and grow new trees. So I don't want them growing into my Hugelkultur development here. So I do want to try to get out as many roots as I can. Aiming for the cherry tree right there. Pretty confident it's going to come up short. Better. I can compost in this area. I got some manure and stuff, so we're going to make a really nice pit for the new tree and use some of the cottonwood around the edges to kind of continue a bit of a Hugelkultur little berm around the tree. And then stone's going to go along the back bank there. A couple cedar trees on the north side, kind of blocking some northern winds, so creates a bit of a microclimate in here. It's quite sunny, so yeah, stick around. I'll show you how things go. There's still quite a few really nice butternuts in here. Maybe I'll cut a couple of these just in case it goes this way. These are pretty much mature now. Landrace, so I get a diverse genetic pool. So it's really good for adapting to climate change. So it's only been about 10 days since I did the main harvest out of here. It's gonna freeze in 3 days, potentially snow. I should just go ahead and harvest everything out of here now. Otherwise it's gonna be like a last minute scramble. That green one. Ripen inside.
I'm flying so high off the ground. I'm way up here, and I just can't come down.
But now you can really see the definition again, which is kind of nice. The rock wall and everything. And there's a few beans in there too, a few runners. I should collect. I was just putting all the squash vines up on the new Hugel there, just as another layer. A couple of varieties, so there's Redbeard and Apache. We're gonna harvest this herb plant right here.
Take a look around you, everything's brighter. Can you see? And don't look down now, let's just be here, you and me. This wonderland, it belongs to us, you will see.
Because the tree might come this far here. I'm gonna leave the potatoes, they'll be fine underneath. And then, I've got carrots there, but I'm probably gonna just chance it. Hopefully, I think the tree's just gonna come just to about here. Got a cherry tree too, so.
I'm flying so high off the ground. I'm way up here, and I just can't come down. No, from here. Everywhere we go, we feel so alive. We fly so high, so high.
Just a little bit longer than I thought, but almost perfect. It's good that was just a little bit to the right of my cherry tree there, because it just skimmed it, but didn't break anything off. I did hit the fence just a little bit, and my little arch squash way. All my blueberries, got a blueberry right here, so it just missed.
So high. Everywhere we go, we feel so alive. We fly so high, so high. Way up here, oceans full of bright blue diamonds. How they shine, crystal clear.
Well, it's also a good way to leaf mulch the garden in the autumn. So I really love cottonwood buds to make balm of Gilead, and typically you want to collect that in the spring. This resinous sap in here, it smells amazing, and it's anti-inflammatory, but it makes the most wonderful hand salve. You soak them in your choice of oil for at least a month, melt some beeswax, and you mix that. You can put other herbs in there as well.
I'm flying so high off the ground. I'm way up here, and I just can't come down.
Okay, I got a bit more of a plan going on now. I'm cutting in a nice crescent line here, quite a nice little cove. Compost needs to be moved. Some I'm going to bag up for transplants in the spring, and some I'm going to use in this project here. And I'm going to drop in a whole bunch of wood. I've got some rotting firewood up at my house up there, as well as some of this fresh cut cottonwood. And so that's going to go in kind of ground level, same level as the apricot tree. So all the roots will grow into there. Trees generally, you know, all their feeder roots are within the first foot of soil generally, because you know that's where all the topsoil is. Stone started here at the end of this Hugelkultur. I'm going to continue the stone wall around the cove. It'll radiate heat for a couple more hours into the evening. So all in all, we'll create a nice little microclimate here. So this is all pretty much finished compost. Looks really nice.
In this state of mind all the time. I'm flying so high off the ground. I'm way up here.
This is like the third utensil I found in my compost, in this particular compost. And this is from my newer good set too. So I'm now going to pull all of this more fresh compost into this area here. I'm going to kind of work it into the soil, and all the worms will come up. You need to be careful burying cottonwood. Logs like this can actually sprout. I haven't really experienced too much problem in the past. It is best to leave cottonwood like out for about a year before you use it in your hugel. It's ideal wood actually for Hugelkultur. It breaks down really beautifully. So it's not as extreme as willow. I definitely would be very careful using willow in Hugelkultur. Make sure it's dried out and dead before you bury it. I'm not going to be burying it very deep, so it's kind of good in some ways because I can see any sprouts that come up and limb them or dig up one of these very easily, just a bit of soil on top. Another thing, using really green wood like this, it will lock up the nitrogen. Cottonwood does break down quite quickly once it starts. You know, ideally use rotten wood. I've been using the fresh stuff just because I have it right here. It'll just take longer to break down. It just takes a couple years for that nitrogen to release back into the ground, but it does, and it will cycle like that. Locks it up for a bit of time, but then it releases it after wood starts to decay. You just need to have sufficient amount of nitrogen for your tree. So now I'm just going around and collecting all the fall cleanup. Just gonna put another layer in there that'll help rot the wood down a bit more. Manure or anything like this, like compost, will help decay the wood faster. So I'm just leaving the roots in the ground. noticed the borage up the bank here. How did this one get here? Oh, there's another little baby one there too. Wow, maybe tracked up with my boots, or just the wind or a bird maybe. That's so cool. The garden is moving in on its own. I've got 2 fruit trees that need to be planted out. It's gonna freeze tonight, so I'm gonna go and get these in now. Well, at least the one, the whole project I'm working on there, but I'm gonna plant this one now and then kind of follow up with some rock work. It's okay if it's frozen for that. So I've got a Westcot here, and she's rated the minus 37, like a zone 3, and she's a potted tree. And I also have a Honeycrisp that I just got from a friend, and this one is on dwarf rootstock. Most of all of my trees are on semi-dwarf. It's the most common. So she's gonna go something like that in the center here, right against the Hugel. All right, I think that's deep enough and large enough. Like, this is a very small hole for me. I like to do really large holes, especially if I'm doing like a Hugel pit or something. My soil is not even soil, it's just like hard pack, no topsoil on it, so I have to build everything up. But I think this is gonna be large enough because this is all like fill in here, and it's mixed with that semi-raw compost as well. And then I got the Hugel there. So that's the depth, about 20 inches. And against this bank here, it's actually richer soil. I've actually got some topsoil in here. So a lot of this soil that I placed in here is kind of like sub-topsoil. It's not too bad, but that's gonna be it. I'm gonna mix up some reused peat moss and compost and a few other things. Got some bones, fill the bottom a bit, and then we'll plant the tree. I almost forgot to place bones in the bottom here. I got a nice little pile. There's a few more on the lawn there I'm gonna pick up as well, probably. Actually, I'll save those ones for the other, the Honeycrisp tree. But I should have dropped these in the bottom. And I'm kind of fanning my hole out at the top so it's tapered like this. I am making a bit of a dish here because it is up higher and it's drier in this location versus my little food forest over that way. I planted everything up on beds because there's so much water in that area, especially in the spring. So they're all planted up a little bit higher so the water can move through the pathways and, you know, they don't burst. So we are up a little bit, but I have quite a big dish here that I can taper in, and so rain will catch here and it'll come off the bank as well. Pipe up that way as well, coming out of the bank from my upper place. So a lot of water comes out up there. I'm gonna direct into some tanks here, so there'll be water for this whole development here. Homemade kitchen scrap compost, aged horse manure that went in the bottom there, and some reused peat moss, and now some kitchen scrap compost. I'm going to continue to mix some of the native soil in here, creating more and more of that dish. So I'm actually going to plant the tree on this side of my hole more because I want it that way. So, you know, I wouldn't plant trees on Hugelkultures like I've made just here that are all bouncy. There's just too many air pockets in there and she can get blown over with a storm. Ants and other critters can get in there as well. You want to plant them in some solid ground. So if you make a Hugel around your tree and she's planted in nice solid earth, that is ideal. Bone meal is high in phosphorus, and this will just sit there and, you know, break down over winter, and in the spring she'll have that phosphorus for that root development. So this tree is in a organic pot. It's either peat moss or cow dung. I don't want to disturb her too much because going into her dormancy, as long as she's got a couple good roots spreading out, fan all these out like that. Typically put the graft towards the north, so that's that direction. Ground level just below the graft there. Mycorrhizal inoculant, and I'm just going to use half here. Mycorrhizal fungi form a symbiotic relationship with roots. Mycorrhizal fungi are made up of microscopic threads called hyphae. Hyphae are interconnected into a net-like web called mycelium, which can be hundreds or even thousands of miles long in one little area. Mycelium absorbs nutrients and translocates them back to the host tree or plant. Mycelium can connect multiple plants and trees of different species across great distances. Now we'll do some mulching. Through these networks, trees in the forest exchange water and valuable nutrients with one another. Trees can even communicate with each other through these mycorrhizal networks. Compost with a lot of straw in it will work as a really good mulch. Got just a little bit more straw here. You're gonna have to get more for using the compost, but add this. Oh, I missed the bone. So you can see I have another cottonwood tree here, and this is really why I love the cottonwoods. It produces so much. Put these on in the autumn, and by the spring they're flattened right out. They mix almost like a felt and just keeps any weeds from coming up. The best sheet mulching you can use is leaves, and also nutrient wise as well. It just really feeds the soil beautifully. You want to keep right around the base of your tree just open so you don't get any molding of the trunk there. Minus 37, zone 3. I had 2 other apricots die on me. They were zone 5. According to the literature, the fruits are quite nice still, maybe just a little bit smaller than some other varieties. That's a small price to pay for having such a hardy tree here. So come spring, this whole area is going to get another layer of mulch of wood chips, and I am going to start working on the stone wall just behind me here right now. I pulled out a few decent sized rocks out of the bank there, and I'm just going to go collect some more. I've got some piles up at my upper house, and so we'll get this stone wall going here. Well, there's no shortage of rocks on my property. I'll just get one stone like that. So you enter and go along that Hugel Terrace there, or you can walk up to the second one, and you can walk around on the top of that wall there. We got some pretty decent sized stones here. Also got a few smaller chiseled ones to fit in between, and some stepping stones as well. Those are gonna go in right here. Got my cornerstone there. much have to stop. Getting a little dizzy head there. Yeah. Got a lot done today. It's gonna be just a couple of days before I can get back at it. It's gonna freeze tonight, and so I actually need to harvest some celery and things that are gonna get affected. I think what I'm gonna do is just throw a tarp over my potatoes so any surface taters won't get affected. Just got carrots here too. They generally do okay with a mild freeze, as long as the tops aren't sticking up too much. I'm gonna be doing a bit of a night shift harvest here. These beans are such prime seed. They're over for eating, but I shouldn't waste them, so I should just pick a whole bunch of these. Harvested these cabbages, and they're tempting to make. They're little ball cabbages. They're soft though. This one too. This is balling up again. Broccoli shoots here to harvest. A couple of wicking barrels here with celery still. Had the butterbush winter squash growing out. All these are potatoes, but they're mulched quite heavily, so they should be fine. And so the night harvesting continues. Oh, they got a little big. Totally forgot about these for a little bit. Hey, there's 3. Oh yeah, there's also some beets down in here. Cylindra. Oh, another one. There's quite a few in here actually. Oh, another pepper. Nice. Oh, volunteer tomato right here. Look at them all. They've dried right out, so it's excellent for seed saving, those ones. Yeah. Wow, look at those. They're curly, some of them. Oh, hey. I tried to plant them really deep. Oh, there's a nice amount of white on there. Pretty light all the way. Nettles. Nighttime food forest snacks. Alright. Got them in containers, but they rooted through. These are a European almond, and they just come up in my compost, or they did when I was buying some organic European almonds. Wow.
In the garden room,
They're so tall.
wings are beating.
There's parsley in here too.
Baby,
There's one more picking. Blueberry leaves. All this marigold seed just poured on top of a little baby carrot right here. Coriander seed.
faces of the moon.
That's a beautiful mustard.
All through the stages, both becoming seen.
I gotta pack those up. These beauties. Full of food in here. rocks, a lot of them against the wall, so there's good drainage right on the wall so it doesn't, you know, slide out. It helps stabilize the wall. There we go. Try not to dig up the forage plant here. Look at that, I mean, she's totally fine. Shows you how protected things are under when there's a tree canopy above. And I'm just making sort of some little benches here that I can, you know, climb up this way easier later. This is probably gonna be like a stair or ramps going up to the top here. That's just about full. I have some recycled peat moss I'm gonna bring over and some more compost as well, and plant some support species for my apricot. Make a bit of a northern wind block. They're gonna really thrive in this area because it's so protected and sunny. I haven't decided, I might leave the bush maple, keep her pruned down a bit more like shrub-like. She'll make the canopy, the leaves for building soil. Hey, just gotta say thanks so much for hitting that like button. Also stick around to the end of the video. We're gonna be doing some electroculture for the apricot tree. It's really gonna enhance this whole microclimate cove. So now I'm turning this into a swale. I want it sloped back towards the bank so that rainfall and rain runoff from the bank here will actually catch and hold and slow it down, and it'll penetrate into the earth and moisten everything. I can also route it one direction or the other if I want it to flow into another area. So we're gonna slope it back like this. So I'm pulling it up towards the rock wall. I also need two more nice large flat stones that I don't have right now. I'm gonna wait till the spring to do that, just for my steps up here. Figured out what I'm gonna do for the front here. It's really gonna make it more beautiful, and I'm gonna work with the energy and the earth and all of that more. So I'm creating a golden mean, you know, ratio shape of a shell, or the Fibonacci spiral. We're gonna have a electroculture rod for the stake for the tree. I'm gonna make that as well. This is gonna catch water in here. I'm gonna slope the ground here just so that water does come this way and sits in here, a little bit of a swale. It'll also come down the pathway here and merge into the root system as well. Just be collecting in here, and all the Hugelkultur in here is going to work like in a good sponge as well and hold a lot of moisture. Got a nice moss rock there. Project keeps becoming more and more. We got some big rocks in here. Most of them are really chunky. Couple of sea buckthorn. They're gonna fix the nitrogen. They almost look dead, but I did check the roots and they're bright. Look at all that beautiful lichen and whatnot in there. So I'm gonna plant both of these right here within, you know, 1.5 feet from my tree. So they help fix the nitrogen. These will be support bushes. I won't necessarily let them get too large. Eventually, maybe even chop them. They actually will like sucker their roots. So, but that's totally fine. You can dig up little babies. So there's a couple of nitrogen fixing deciduous shrubs. Corn stalks, tomato plants, cabbage. Some little succulents growing in there too. Yeah, the roots are white there. It's a little bit frozen though, so I'm only gonna just pull them out just a tiny little bit. More compost around. So I'm putting these on the north side because I don't want them to start shading out my fruit tree. The Electroculture rod tree stake will go on the north side as well. Got a specialty lilac here. Don't remember the name actually. These two here. Yeah, it's pretty much frozen on the outside. I'm gonna have to just plant it like that. Maybe in the spring I'll put a shovel in there a little bit or something. Just gotta get these in fast. Slope down here a bit so water will catch and drain into these bushes here. My couple of nice yostaberries that went for a few years actually just died out on me. They clone so easily. Just take snippings in the spring, stick them in the ground, and just heal in a whole cluster. That's what I did, and I have so many. Oh good, we got a taproot at least coming out. I'm just kind of planting these together. I think they'll be a nice little duo here. The yostaberries, you know, they vine out, so I can just train them whichever way, and the lilac will be nice here. Attract pollinators to this corner here, the fruit tree. This dwarf honeycrisp was planted out and then it had to be removed. This is going to be the end of the third Hugelkultur terrace in here. Went and collected up a bunch of cow bones. Juniper's chewing bones. So this is actually a garden bed here. A few years ago, at least 5, I created a little squash garden here, and then I used it for a water tank. But it's really good soil, so it's perfect. The tree will be on nice solid ground, and then she can grow into the new hugel. This time I'm going to get the bones a little bit deeper, all together. That way they're going to really prolifically propagate microorganisms. And the roots, once they find that pile of bones, are just gonna like suck on. Check this really beautiful graft out. You can see the just that V mark there spliced over top. Nice and flush, beautiful. Often they're to like one side. Hope she's okay. It was a little bit traumatic for her, this whole autumn experience. Being planted, then replanted again, very late. We got her tucked in there pretty good. All right, you're gonna be all right, sweetie. So this is actually tubing, quite flexible, but I do have to be careful not to kink it when I do really sharp corners. So now I got it going. It's pretty easy just to roll it on itself. And no matter which way you turn this, it's always clockwise from the tip down. So I decided to wind my whole rod here. Even though it's metal, you don't necessarily need to. If you're using a wood stake, you want to bring down the wire so it's connected to the earth and to your antenna or your spiral. But I also think it's quite important to just beautify and, makes things aesthetically pleasing. This is like a nice piece of garden art. So adding a crystal, gonna wind my antenna and add some spirals. Holistic double tip Egina coil. The top coil harnesses atmospheric and solar energies to help increase soil fertility, root development, sturdiness, and so forth. Bottom coil draws Earth's energy upwards to stimulate branch, leaf, and fruit growth, plus a 4-direction antenna.
Alright, time to go install this.
Calibrate this now. Turn it a little bit clockwise. Just want to align it north, south, east, west. Already attracting the snails. See there? Nature is so magical. I certainly enjoyed that project. I hope I inspired you a bit. Lots more going into this garden terrace area here. Stay tuned for the spring. Hope you really enjoyed that one. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that thumbs up. Leave me a comment, share the video. It all really helps out. Thanks so much. Till next time, keep on growing, keep your heart inspired, keep saving your seeds. Take good care of the soil and live close with Earth.